Okay, it's a chilly morning. Everything is frosty outside, but the sun is shining. So you know it's cold if the frost is still there when the sun is up. Good morning, it's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. I missed you yesterday. I think I'll put my glasses on so I can see what's going on. Hey, Pat. Can you want to come in here? You want to say hi? I can't. I can't. There you are. Yeah, there you are. I have a tripod sitting on the floor. I couldn't figure out how to get the tripod. Anyway. So you could say hi to Pearl, or she could say hi to you, or both. Thank you for joining me for coffee. It was a lovely service for my friend yesterday. It was a nice day. It was cold, very cold, but it was otherwise a nice day. Lovely tributes from her daughters and her sister. And, yeah, the whole thing, we went to the grave and shoveled the dirt, which was kind of creepy. But, I should have brought it. Hold on. My friend Margie believed in angels and collected them. And her daughter Christy gave me this. And it's written on the back from Barbara in 2002. I gave her this for Christmas one year. We would get together for dinner. Isn't that cute? It was on her tree. So I just took it off my tree. So that was a very sweet thing to do, to give me that. Anyway, she's buried next to her husband, who died about 10 years ago. She never really recovered from his death. Well, I mean, you don't recover from someone's death, I guess, but it changed her. And anyway, it was a nice service. It was a nice service. And my reading skills have gone downhill so far. I don't even know what to tell you, because I read that email really quickly about where it was and said, oh my gosh, it's in New Jersey. It wasn't in New Jersey. Because I thought it was so strange, because Harris isn't buried in New Jersey. It wasn't. It was at the cemetery where Harris was buried, which is about 45 minutes from me, so it wasn't the horrible drive I was expecting, which I figured out the day before. And even though I had to go down the Schuylkill Expressway at rush hour, if you know anything about the Philadelphia area, that's saying something. I decided to wear my bright orange sweater to cheer me up, the hugs from friends, my cowl, my earrings, my mug as a gift. Keep my friends close. And thank you, everyone, for your good wishes and condolences. I do appreciate it. Well, if all goes as planned, I will be taking Ora to her cardiac rehab today. So we will be out in the cold, although the high today is supposed to be 30, so it's not supposed to stay this bitter cold. And tomorrow, apparently, we have a storm coming. So we need to bring more wood in today into the garage to make sure that we have enough wood. 4 to 6 inches, I think. We're in the 4 to 6 inch range. So, starting at noon tomorrow. So that'll be exciting. That'll be a terrible afternoon commute for people if they've had to go to work. If it starts snowing at noon, that's too bad. But that means we'll be doing a lot of shoveling on Saturday, shoveling ourselves out. Well, I don't know when the snow is supposed to stop, but if we're only supposed to get 4 to 6 inches, it can't be snowing very much in the middle of Saturday, I would think. So we'll be shoveling ourselves out and then go get Aura out. So that's the plan for today. I really didn't do any knitting the last couple days. I've been reading and, reading mostly. I finished the Rex Stout books, and then I moved on to John D. MacDonald. The old-timey detectives. Travis McGee. I read the first Travis McGee last night. And I'll tell you the truth, I was a little concerned because it was written in 1964. And I do find, and it's a detective, so, hard-boiled and, I don't know. Anyway, I was worried that it would just be so jarring, to read, a macho guy in 1964, doesn't sound like somebody I'm not interested in, to tell you the truth. But there were a couple of sentences that, had he written that book today, he wouldn't have put in. I can't even think of what they were, but I thought, couple of sentences, I'm like, But his depiction of women was very, it was, it was a little bit macho and, and maybe of his time a little bit, but I just felt like I liked his women, and I liked the way he talked about them pretty much. He was, well, anyway, I was pleasantly surprised when I read that book last night. Now, I'm sure I had read it before, but boy, I didn't remember it. And I would have read it decades ago. It's not like the other books that I can't remember that I read last year. But I was pleasantly surprised. So we actually have a box of John D. MacDonald books upstairs. Garland had them, and he collected them, and he didn't want to get rid of them, but he didn't want to keep them either. So, like they were moving or they didn't have room in their house. I'm not sure. I think it was, I guess it was they didn't have room in their house in Florida, he thought. But he didn't want to get rid of them. So I thought, I'll take them, So they're in a box in our upstairs, but they're paperbacks. And, of course, the old paper, it's called Pulp Fiction for a reason. And I think, Dennis was thinking about reading them too. And I said, well, you can read a page and then pass it to me. Because the books are going to fall apart when we go to read them. But I found this book in the library. But anyway, so I have all the John D. MacDonalds upstairs. So I'm thinking about just reading them occasionally. Because they're short enough that I can sit and read it in an evening without staying up too late. And if I'm not going to cringe when I read it, that's good. It is set in 1964, and so I give a little, grace for that. So it's pre-women's movement, pre-civil rights movement. Although I don't think there weren't any people of color in his book. last night, but it was, you know, so it's pre this, the, you know, the movements of the 60s, at least this first one was. And I'll be interested to see how he brings it up, because he wrote until late 70s, I think his books span from starting in 1964 to the late 70s, so see how he handles things. It'll be interesting to see. But I was very pleasantly surprised how uncringy it was. Not perfect, but, you know, of his time, but not gross. Anyway, whatever. I found it interesting. And that's what I did last night. I read that, and I went to bed early. I had gotten up early. I had to set my alarm. Anytime I set my alarm, I can't sleep. So I didn't get a good night's sleep the night before, and then got up early. Dennis built me a beautiful fire, so I just sat here and read in my living room, and it was great. But we do need to bring wood in today, because we will be building beautiful fires in the snow, I hope. I hope for ambiance, but we'll need the wood in case the power goes out. We lose our power, you know, fairly regularly. If we lose our power, if there's no vlog on Saturday in the morning, well, on Saturday, if I can't do it in the morning, I probably won't have one. It's because we lost our power. And our router and everything is on our generator, so we will have internet. So maybe I'll be able to vlog anyway. But I'll be staying in bed till that generator gets going, and we can get a fire in the fireplace and get the fan on the fireplace. That's how we heat the house in the wintertime when the power's out, is the fan on the fireplace. Our fireplace kind of has a stove in it, you know. The insert for the fireplace is kind of like a stove. And so it's got a fan on it that blows the hot air out. So you can... We actually did okay one winter when we lost power for a few days, and we were able to keep the house in the high 50s, mid 50s, just from the fireplace. So that was good. So the pipes didn't burst. Yeah. But if we're going to have a real cold snap, that's going to be harder to do, for sure. Anyway, if you don't see me early on Saturday, that's why. That's why. So anyway, I'm doing okay today. Again, thank you so much for your good wishes. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to be knitting today on my socks, taking Aura. But I'm not pressuring myself to do too much. I'm just chugging along. And, you know, that's fine. Dennis has D&D tonight. But he's not... This is his online D&D, so he'll be home. But he'll be occupied. So that's okay. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your wishes. Glad I decided to keep my tree up, because I have my angel on it now. My Margie. I never did finish my cards. Valerie laughed when she was hugging me, and she says, I know, and you and Mom, you know, exchange birthday cards a month late. I'm like, I didn't send your sympathy card yet. She laughed. But maybe I'll make an angel for Christie's, because I didn't know what to do for her. That was sweet. Margie's Christy. Her oldest is named Christy. It can get a little confusing. It reminds me, you know, it never occurred to me to not name my daughter Christy when my friend's daughter's name was Christy. I always wanted to be named Christy. I've told you that story before. My sister's name is Christy. Too many Christys in my story. But when Jason and Allison were pregnant with Samantha, they were thinking about naming her Olivia, but they decided they couldn't do that because they had a friend who had a daughter whose name was Olivia. And I thought, I'm not making any big decisions like that based on, you know, other people. and it didn't occur to me at the time, but obviously I didn't, because I named my daughter Christy. Anyway. Thank you, everybody. Please take good care of yourselves. Please be careful, be careful, be careful. Stay safe and stay sane. Oh, I'm going to be like Chevis. Editing Chevis here. Editing Barbara here. Not really. I didn't even get off my chair yet. But I forgot to tell you that Pearl is fine. Pearl was fine. She never showed any indications that she had an upset stomach from eating that chocolate. It wasn't very much chocolate, and she didn't have any reaction to it, and I forgot to tell you that, and I wanted to let you know to not worry about her. She's fine. Of course, you saw her in the beginning, but she's fine. Anyway, stay safe and stay sane. Bye.